After 9 years together, my girlfriend said, "I'm confused about my feelings for a coworker," while I paid her bills and built our life. I replied, "That's fine," agreed to give her time, and slept in my car. Then one forgotten device revealed. I don't even know where to start. I'm sitting in my car outside my apartment right now because I can't go back inside. My hands are still shaking. I'm 25, she's 23. We've been together since I was 16 and she was 14. Yeah, I know how that sounds, but we were just kids who grew up together. I was a junior in high school, she was in 8th grade, and we met through mutual friends at a church youth group. We started dating officially when she turned 15. I went to college about an hour away and worked part-time at a hardware store to keep us afloat. After I graduated 3 years ago, I landed a warehouse operations supervisor job making about $52K base, plus overtime that usually pushes me to around $62K. It's not rich, but it's stable. Meanwhile, Breyer stayed in school for hospitality management. For the past 9 years, I've been the provider. I paid her phone bill, bought her a used Honda Civic when she turned 20 so she could get to classes, covered groceries when her dorm meal plan ran out. I'm not saying this to brag. I did it because I loved her and I wanted to build a future together. 3 months ago, Breyer graduated and moved to my city. She got a job as a front desk coordinator at this upscale boutique hotel downtown with a fancy restaurant and bar attached. We were finally going to start our real life together. I was so excited. I even cut back my overtime from about 15 hours a week to just 5 so I could be home more. I started doing all the cooking, cleaning, laundry, basically became the homemaker while she adjusted to her new job and schedule. I didn't mind. I thought this was what you do when you love someone. But for the past 3 weeks, something's been off. Breyer's been cold. She snaps at me over stupid stuff like dishes in the sink, forgetting to buy her favorite coffee creamer, leaving my work boots by the door. She stopped initiating any kind of affection. She's always on her phone now, typing and smiling at the screen, then quickly putting it away when I walk into the room. She started going out after her late shifts, saying she's grabbing drinks with Jules from work, and coming home at 1 or 2 a.m. smelling like cigarettes. Breyer doesn't smoke. She never has. I asked her about it once and she got defensive, said I was being controlling, and that she's just finally making friends at work, and I should be happy for her. So I backed off. I trusted her. Last night everything came crashing down. Breyer was in the shower. I could hear the water running, hear her humming some song I didn't recognize. Her phone was on the bathroom counter. Normally it's password locked, but this time the screen was still on, glowing in the dim bathroom light. She must have been using it right before she got in. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear I wasn't. But a message preview popped up just as I walked past. From E. The text said, "Can't stop thinking about last night." Everything inside me went cold. I picked up the phone. My hands were already shaking. I opened the messages, started scrolling. Weeks of texts between Breyer and someone named Emmett, flirting, inside jokes, plans to meet up after her shifts. Nothing explicitly sexual, but deeply, deeply emotional. The kind of intimacy that's somehow worse than physical. She was telling this guy things she used to tell me, complaining about me being boring and too serious and always tired. One message stopped me cold. Sometimes I wonder what life would be like if I'd waited to settle down. I felt like someone had knocked all the air out of my lungs. When Breyer got out of the shower, I was sitting on the couch with her phone in my hand. She came out in her towel, hair dripping, and stopped dead when she saw my face. Her eyes went straight to the phone. "Riker?" She reached for it. I pulled it back, my voice coming out flat and cold. "Who is Emmett?" She started crying immediately. But it wasn't the kind of crying where someone's sorry. It was the panicked kind, the caught kind. Her words came out in a rush. "He's just a friend. He's a bartender at the hotel. We talk during shifts. You're overreacting. Why were you looking at my phone? You violated my privacy." I read the messages, Breyer. My hands were shaking. "I know this is more than friendship." Her face crumpled and she sank down onto the arm of the couch, pulling the towel tighter around herself. Okay. She was still crying, but her voice got quieter. "I'm confused, Riker. Emmett makes me feel alive. He makes me feel appreciated." I stared at her. "What?" "You've changed," she said, and now there was an edge of defensiveness in her voice. "You're too focused on work. You're always tired. You don't take me out anymore. You're not fun like you used to be." I almost laughed. It came out as this bitter exhale. "I've been working 50-hour weeks to save for an engagement ring and a down payment on a house. For us." She looked away. "Are you sleeping with him?" The question came out quieter than I meant it to. "No." She shook her head hard. "No, I swear. It's just emotional. Just talking. Just feelings." I felt something break inside my chest. End it. Block his number. Choose me. Her eyes met mine and I saw the answer before she spoke. "I can't." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I need time to figure out my feelings." We sat there in silence for a long moment. Then she said the thing that still plays in my head sometimes. "Can we stay together while I sort things out?" I didn't know what to say. This woman I'd loved for 9 years, who I'd given everything to, was asking me to wait around while she decided if I was good enough. "Yeah," I heard myself say. "Okay." I don't know why I said it. Fear of losing her. Hope that she'd come to her senses. Maybe I was just stupid. She's asleep in our bed right now. I'm sitting in my car because I can't stand to be in the same room as her. Reddit, what the hell do I do? Update 1. It's been 4 days since my original post. Things have gotten worse. After I posted, I stayed in my car for about an hour reading comments. When I came back inside, Briar was still asleep. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch staring at the wall. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made herself coffee, got ready for work, kissed me on the forehead on her way out like we hadn't just had the worst conversation of my life the night before. When she got home that evening, I tried to talk to her again. She came through the door, set her purse down, and I could see her shoulders tense when she saw me waiting on the couch. "Have you thought about what I said?" I asked. "About ending things with Emmett?" She sat down across from me, not next to me, across, and folded her hands in her lap. "I've been thinking." A pause. "And I'm still confused." The word confused was starting to make me feel sick. She looked up at me, and there was this distance in her eyes I'd never seen before. "Emmett makes me feel things I haven't felt in years. When we talk, I feel seen, like he actually listens to me." She took a breath. "You've become so focused on being responsible and stable that you've forgotten how to be fun, Riker." My voice came out tight. "What do you want from me, Briar? You want me to quit my job, stop saving money, start acting like I'm 18 again?" "No." She shook her head quickly. "I just want you to be more present, to make an effort." So I did. God, I really tried. I bought her flowers on my lunch break the next day, planned a surprise date night for Friday, made reservations at that Italian place where we had our first real date when she turned 18. I even wrote her a letter about our history, about how much she means to me, about the future I want to build with her. She accepted all of it with this polite, distant smile, like I was a nice guy doing nice things, but none of it mattered. Friday came. We went to dinner. She looked beautiful. She'd actually dressed up, done her makeup. For a second I thought maybe this was working. Then she checked her phone. Once, twice, 3 times, 4. When we got home, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Were you texting him?" She didn't even look guilty. "Yes." "During our date?" "I told him I was on a date with you." She said it like it was nothing. "He said, 'Have fun. I'll be here when you get back.'" Something in me snapped. I told her this isn't working, that I can't compete with some bartender who gets to be the fun, exciting guy while I'm at home doing laundry and meal prep, that it's not fair to ask me to wait around while she explores her feelings for someone else. She started crying again. She said she doesn't want to lose me, that I've been the most important person in her life for 9 years, that she loves me, but she won't stop seeing Emmett. I made a decision that night. I needed to know what I was up against. I found Emmett's number in her phone and called him from my own phone. He picked up after 3 rings. I could hear music and voices in the background. He was at work. His voice had that irritated edge of someone who doesn't want to be bothered. "Yeah?" I took a breath. "Is this Emmett?" "Who's asking?" Sharp, guarded. Riker, Briar's boyfriend. The line went quiet for a long moment. I could hear him breathing, maybe stepping away from the noise. Okay, he finally said, his tone flattening out. What do you want? My hand was shaking, but I kept my voice steady. Did Briar tell you she has a boyfriend? Yeah, man, she told me. No hesitation, no guilt. And you're still pursuing her? He let out this dismissive little laugh. Look, I don't know what you want me to say. She's an adult. If she wanted to be with you, she would be. But she's here with me most nights, so... He trailed off, letting the implication hang there. My jaw clenched. She's in a relationship, a 9-year relationship. Have some respect. Now he actually laughed, loud enough that I pulled the phone away from my ear. Respect? Dude, if your girlfriend's spending her nights at a bar talking to me instead of going home to you, that's not my problem. That's yours. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, my whole body shaking with anger. When I tried calling back, it went straight to voicemail. He'd blocked me. I sat there staring at my phone, shaking with anger. This guy knew everything. He knew about me. He knew we'd been together since we were kids, and he didn't care. Later that night, I couldn't sleep again. I kept thinking about what he said. She's here with me most nights. Briar was supposed to be working a double shift yesterday, said she wouldn't be home until midnight. We share locations on our phones, always have, for safety reasons when she was driving alone late at night. At 9 p.m. I checked. She wasn't at the hotel. She was at an apartment complex across town. I pulled up the address, looked it up online. It's a newer building, the kind of place a 28-year-old bartender at an upscale hotel could afford. She was at Emmett's apartment. I didn't confront her when she got home at 1 a.m. I just pretended to be asleep. This morning she went to work like normal. I called in sick. I can't focus. My supervisor Knox noticed I've been off this week and told me to take a personal day. He's a good guy, divorced, went through something similar a few years ago. He's been checking on me. I don't know what to do next. Everyone in the comments on my last post said to leave. I know they're right. But 9 years is a long time. How do you just walk away from that? Update 2. I confronted Briar about the location thing, showed her the screenshot on my phone, her little dot sitting at that apartment complex when she'd told me she was working a double. She didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she just broke down crying. But it wasn't guilty crying. It was angry crying. Her face flushed red and her hands balled into fists. You invaded my privacy. She practically shouted it. You checked my location? You don't trust me? You're suffocating me, Riker. What were you doing at Emmett's apartment, Briar? My voice was eerily calm. When you told me you were working? She wiped at her eyes, smearing mascara across her cheeks. Okay, fine. Yes, I've been seeing him. Going to his place after my shifts. She took a shaky breath. But nothing physical has happened. Nothing. We just talk. We spend time together. We connect emotionally. I felt like I was watching this conversation from outside my body. Choose. Right now. Me or him. She looked at me like I'd just slapped her. Her mouth opened and closed a few times before words came out. I can't choose right now. Her voice got higher, desperate. If you force me to choose, I'll resent you. Don't you see that? I need time. Time for what? I cut her off. And then she said it. The words that have been on repeat in my head ever since. I love you, Riker. She was crying again, but differently now. Softer. Sadder. But I'm not in love with you anymore. Maybe I haven't been for a while. And I think... She looked down at her hands. I think I'm falling for Emmett. I don't want to lose you, but I can't stop seeing him. The room felt like it was tilting. Are you staying or leaving? I'll stay. She said it quickly, like she'd already decided. But only if you give me space. If you stop being controlling. I should have kicked her out right then. Every cell in my body was screaming at me to tell her to get the hell out. But I didn't. Fine, I heard myself say. My voice sounded hollow. Stay. Figure it out. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend everything's okay. She nodded and went to the spare bedroom. That night I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the hell I was doing. For the past week we've been living like roommates. Polite, distant. She goes to work, comes home late, goes straight to her room. I work my shifts, come home, sleep on the couch. Last night I couldn't sleep again. I was lying on the couch in the dark, staring at my phone, when something clicked in my brain. Briar's iPad. We're on the same Apple ID. We set it up years ago when she needed access to apps I'd already purchased. I'd completely forgotten about it. But that means her messages sync to the iPad. I sat up. The iPad was usually in the spare bedroom, but earlier that day I'd seen it on the coffee table. My heart was pounding as I reached for it. It wasn't locked. I opened messages. There they were. Every single conversation between her and Emmett. Weeks and weeks of them. I started scrolling, my hand shaking so hard I almost dropped the thing. I read for over an hour, feeling sicker with every swipe. Then I found it. The exchange from 3 days ago that made everything crystal clear. Emmett had written, "He's not gonna leave you. Guys like him never do. You've got him trained." Briar's response, "I know, but I feel bad. He's been good to me." My throat tightened. I kept reading. "Good isn't enough," Emmett wrote. "You deserve excitement." "You're right," Briar replied. Then, "I just wish he'd make this easier and leave on his own. I don't want to be the bad guy." Emmett's next message made my blood run cold. "Then don't be. Just keep doing what you're doing. He'll break eventually. Or he'll stay and you get both of us. Win-win." Briar sent back, "You're terrible," with a laughing emoji. "You like it," he'd written back. I stared at that screen until the words blurred together. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They'd gone completely numb. She wasn't confused. She wasn't trying to figure out her feelings. She was waiting for me to break. Waiting for me to leave so she wouldn't have to be the one who ended our 9-year relationship. So she could tell everyone I gave up, not her. And Emmett knew exactly what he was doing. He was coaching her through it. I took screenshots. My fingers moved on autopilot. Screenshot, send to myself, screenshot, send to myself. Then I went into the sent messages and deleted every trace that I'd sent anything from her device. I put the iPad back exactly where I'd found it. Then I walked to the bathroom and threw up. I called my sister Fallon this morning, told her everything. She's a nurse, works crazy hours, but she said she's coming over after her shift tomorrow. I think I'm finally ready to end this. I just needed to see it in writing. To know for sure that I'm not the one giving up. She gave up months ago. I've just been too blind to see it. Final update. After I found those messages on the iPad, I spent 4 days in a complete fog. I called in sick to work for 3 straight days. Knox, my supervisor and gym buddy, covered for me and told the ops manager I had the flu. I barely ate. Couldn't sleep. When I did sleep, I had nightmares about finding Briar and Emmett together. Briar was still sleeping in the spare room. We'd pass each other in the apartment like ghosts. She'd ask if I was okay. I'd say fine. That was the extent of our interaction. On day 4, my sister Fallon showed up unannounced. I'd texted her in a moment of desperation earlier that week, and she cleared her schedule to drive down. When I opened the door, she took one look at me and her face fell. "Jesus, Rye, you look like hell." I probably did. I hadn't shaved in 4 days. My clothes were wrinkled. I'm pretty sure I'd been wearing the same shirt for 2 days straight. I let her in and she immediately pulled me into a hug, the kind only an older sister can give, firm, protective, a little bit angry on your behalf. When she pulled back, her jaw was set. "Where is she?" "Spare bedroom," I mumbled. Fallon's always been protective of me. 5 years older, basically raised me when our parents were working double shifts. She's seen me through breakups, college stress, everything. But I'd never seen her this angry. She marched straight to the spare bedroom and knocked. Not politely, but hard enough to make Briar jump when she opened the door. Briar's face went from annoyed to pale the second she saw who it was. Fallon didn't yell. She didn't have to. She just stood there in the doorway, arms crossed, and her voice came out cold and measured. "You've been using my brother as a safety net for 9 years. The second you get a taste of independence, you monkey branch to the first guy who gives you attention." She paused, her eyes never leaving Briar's face. You're a coward. Briar's mouth opened and closed. That's not, it's not like that, Fallon. It's complicated. Riker and I, we grew apart. Fallon's expression didn't change. No. She cut through Briar's stammering like a knife. You grew entitled. Riker put you through college, bought you a car, paid your bills, cut back his hours so he could take care of you while you adjusted to your new job. And the second you got a little attention from some bartender, you threw it all away. She leaned forward slightly. You didn't grow apart. You just found someone who doesn't expect you to be a decent person. Briar's face went red. Her eyes darted to me, standing in the living room doorway, like she expected me to jump in and defend her. I didn't say a word. Something shifted in her expression. Her jaw clenched and she grabbed her purse from somewhere in the room, shoved her feet into her shoes without tying them. I don't have to listen to this. Her voice shook. You don't know anything about our relationship, Fallon. You don't know what it's been like. Fallon stepped back from the doorway, her arms still crossed. Her voice stayed steady and cold. I know my brother gave you everything, and I know what you gave him back. Briar didn't respond. She pushed past both of us, grabbed her keys from the kitchen counter, and stormed toward the door. I'm going to Emmett's, she threw over her shoulder. I'll be back for my things later. The door slammed so hard a picture frame fell off the wall in the hallway. The apartment went completely silent except for the sound of the frame hitting the floor. Fallon let out a long breath. I heard her walk over, pick up the frame, set it on the side table. Then she came and sat next to me on the couch. You okay? She asked quietly. I couldn't even answer. I just shook my head. She didn't come back for 2 days. During those 2 days, something happened that I wasn't expecting. Briar's mom, Lorraine, called me. Lorraine has always been like a second mom to me. She's known me since I was 16, welcomed me into their family, always said I was the best thing that ever happened to Briar. When I answered, her voice was confused, worried. Riker, honey, what's going on? Briar just called me crying, saying you broke up with her for being too needy. She's devastated. There was a pause and I could hear the pain in her voice. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I know you two have been having problems, but I never thought you'd... Lorraine, I interrupted her gently. That's not what happened. Then I told her everything. The messages, the emotional affair, Emmett, the location tracking showing Briar at his apartment when she said she was working, the iPad conversation where they talked about waiting for me to break so she wouldn't have to be the bad guy. The line went completely silent. For a moment I thought the call had dropped. Then I heard her take a shaky breath. Oh my God. Her voice cracked. Riker, I had no idea. She told me you'd become distant and cold, that you accused her of cheating for no reason, that you kicked her out over nothing. She started crying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's not how I raised her. That's not... The line went silent for a long time. Then Lorraine started crying. She had no idea. Briar had told her a completely different story, that I'd become distant and cold, that I'd accused her of cheating for no reason, that I'd kicked her out. Lorraine apologized to me over and over, said she was horrified, that she didn't raise her daughter to treat people like this. When Briar finally came back 2 days later, I was ready. I'd packed all her stuff into boxes, clothes, toiletries, books, everything, stacked them neatly by the door. She walked in and froze when she saw them. Her eyes went from the boxes to my face, and for the first time in weeks, I saw something like fear flash across her expression. So you're just giving up on us? Her voice tried to sound defiant, but it wavered. I'd rehearsed what I was going to say for hours, but in the moment, standing there looking at her, it came out simpler than I expected. Calmer. No. I shook my head slowly. You gave up on us 3 months ago. I'm just finally accepting it. Her face twisted. That's not fair, Riker. You're being cruel. You're throwing away 9 years over a mistake. She took a step toward me, her hands out like she was pleading. I never actually slept with him. It was just talking, just feelings. Why can't you forgive me? I didn't move, didn't raise my voice, just kept my eyes on hers. You can have your excitement, Briar. You can have Emmett. But you're not doing it in my apartment, on my dime, while I wait around like a backup plan. I gestured to the boxes. Take your stuff and go. She stared at me for what felt like forever, her mouth slightly open like she was waiting for me to crack, to break down, to beg her to stay. I didn't. Her expression shifted. Disbelief, then anger, then something that almost looked like panic. She grabbed the first box with both hands, struggled with the weight for a second, then half carried, half dragged it toward the door. This is really what you want? Her voice cracked. I kept my eyes on hers. Take your stuff, Briar. She made a sound somewhere between a sob and a laugh, grabbed her keys off the counter, and left with that first box. The door didn't slam. It closed with a quiet click that somehow felt worse. She came back twice more that week with Emmett to get the rest. I wasn't there either time, stayed at Fallon's place. I couldn't stomach the idea of seeing him in my apartment touching her things, probably feeling like he'd won something. That was 6 weeks ago. Here's what I know now. Briar moved in with Emmett. I found out through a mutual friend who still works at the hotel. 2 months after she moved in, Emmett dumped her. Apparently Knox has a buddy who works at the same hotel, and word got around that Emmett was also talking to one of the servers the whole time. Briar wasn't special, she was just available. Briar tried to reach out to me 3 weeks ago, sent me a long text that started with, I made a mistake, and ended with, can we talk? I didn't respond. I blocked her number the next day. Lorraine still texts me every week. She apologizes constantly, says she's ashamed of what Briar did. She asked if we could still get coffee sometimes. I said yes. She's a good person. None of this is her fault. As for me, I threw myself back into work. Got promoted to senior warehouse supervisor last month. 15% raise. I've been picking up the overtime I'd cut back again, not because I need it, but because it keeps me busy. Knox got me to start going to the gym with him in the mornings before our shifts. It helps. I started seeing a therapist. Not because I'm broken, just because I needed someone to talk to who isn't emotionally invested. It's been good. Expensive, but good. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not looking. Honestly, the idea of trusting someone like that again makes me feel sick. But I'm rebuilding. Slowly. I don't hate Briar. I really don't. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. I see her clearly now. She's not a villain. She's just someone who wanted more than I could give her, and instead of being honest about it, she tried to keep me around while she figured out what she wanted. Maybe in another timeline, we could have worked. Maybe if we'd met later in life when we were both fully formed people instead of kids growing up together. But this timeline, this version of us, it was always going to end like this. The 9 years weren't wasted. They taught me what I will and won't tolerate. They taught me that loyalty without reciprocity is just self-sacrifice. They taught me that you can't love someone into loving you back. I gave her everything I had. She wanted more. That's on her, not me.